Hello, everybody. It's Amanda with the Content Marketing Institute. Thank you for joining us for today's live stream from my live streaming basement studio here today. And you can find us here pretty much every Monday at noon. And today's live stream is Ask the CMWorld community. We have such a great community of influencers and experts, and we want to share all of their experience and insight with all of you. If you don't know what the Content Marketing Institute is, we are the leading training and education organization for all things content marketing. And today's chat, we're tying it into our upcoming event. Our Content Tech Summit is June 8th through the 10th. It's all digital. You can find out more at content.tech. And if you stick around to the end of the live stream, I'll give you a little code to save you a little money on your registration. So if you're joining us like we do every week, drop me a line, say hi, let me know where you are joining us from. We have a very special guest, so he wants to see where you guys are joining us from all over the world. So today we are chatting about what's missing from your content marketing tech. Every day there seems to be new technologies and processes and popping up to help us manage our content. I mean, like thousands of options out there. How do you sort through it all to find out what's the best fit for your marketing strategy? And how do you make sure that you as a marketer are also on top of the latest tech? Today, we're going to chat with an expert on how to use content and technology to help our organizations and ourselves navigate the ever-changing marketing landscape so we can provide our customers with the best digital experiences. And of course, make our own jobs a little easier. So I see a lot of you already checking in. Ali's joining us. We have Ashar, Stella from Kenya, people from India, David from the UK, Stephanie, of course, from Washington, D.C. So hello, everyone. As I said, drop me a line. Let me know where you are joining us. And before I get to today's guest, let's get to our question of the day. Since we're talking content technologies, what are some of the content marketing technologies that you are using, or maybe some of them that are the most successful for you? All right, so today's guest is a content strategist and a digital pioneer with 17 years of digital marketing experience for pharmaceutical brands. Please help me welcome Buddy Scalera. Hey, Buddy, are you gonna join us today? Or
I'm sorry. Is it today?
I love cookies.
Cookies and books. What's better, right? Just doing a little light reading with some chocolate chip cookies. My favorite author just came out with a new book. Very excited.
Oh yeah. I think we had him on a couple weeks ago to talk about something.
Something.
That book, maybe.
Something. Yeah. Very excited for that.
Buddy knows about everything about, content strategy, social media, content engineering, website development, mobile strategy, user experience, analytics, governance, just about everything, right, Buddy?
Oh, everything. I mean, whatever you need, I'm on for.
Whatever topic I throw at you, you can come on and chat about it.
Sure, why not?
Well, we have people joining us from all over. Ellen from New Jersey. We have people from Colombia, Melissa from Argentina, Yash from India, Karen from Washington State, Lainey from California. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So as I said, we are talking about content technology. So, Buddy, when we say that, what exactly do we mean when we're talking about that?
So content technology, Amanda, could be almost anything. Paper is technology. And we traditionally think about content technology as something that is so futuristic that we can't even wrap our hands around it. But the reality is we use these technologies every day. We have televisions and we have the internet, and we have our mobile devices. All of them are wrapped in technology. As I mentioned, paper is a technology. Any sort of technology can be used to drive forward your content strategy or your content marketing or whatever you need to accomplish. It's all part of the technology stack that we think about when we think about how our content marketing works.
Great. And there are literally thousands of technology options out there for a marketer. So what are some of the first steps that a marketer can take when they're trying to figure out what do I need? What's the best fit for his or her organization?
Well, it's a good question. And I think that you need to really first start with what are your end goals? Like, what do you want to accomplish? And before you start with that, you need to also begin by understanding the persona of your target audience. And that will drive the technology that you need. All too often, particularly as we exploded on the internet with all the social platforms, we began to create our campaigns around essentially the technology. We would say, okay, we're going to create something for TikTok. Okay, maybe that was a great idea, maybe it wasn't. But often you will see people lead with the platform or the technology and then try to shoehorn their content into it. I've been to plenty of different meetings where they were talking about, I don't know, how will this work with Google Glass? And now these days, well, how will this work with blockchain? And they're trying to figure out a way to make the technology work for their marketing. Whereas if their marketing is working and their content is right, that's the first question. What does your audience need to hear and want to hear from you?
So you're saying you might need a strategy first, right?
Yeah, you might need a strategy before you just start doing. I mean, there's a certain amount of experimentation that is always appropriate, and sometimes having a few items out there on the leading edge to see where the next thing is, just to test the waters, is a good idea. But you shouldn't really abandon what is working and what works for your customers just to do the new thing. You really need to lead with what matters to your customer.
So if you're just joining us, we're talking content technology and what might be missing from your content marketing tech. So if you have a question for Buddy as we go along, please feel free to drop it in the comments. As I said, we have people from Turkey, India, Indonesia, Ireland, Sweden, India, Bulgaria, Israel. So we have quite an international audience, everyone. Our question of the day is what sort of content technologies are you using in your marketing? If you want to drop that in the comments and let us know as we talk here. All right, Buddy. So why is it important for marketers to understand the technology that's part of their marketing stack? Like you said, just here's a new technology. Let's try it. Looks cool.
It's a good question, Amanda, and I think it goes to what we as marketers and particularly those of us who come out of the creative side, we're often not that comfortable getting into deep into the weeds of the technology, the engineering, the programming. It sometimes feels intimidating. And certainly, it can be difficult because the experts are speaking what is essentially a sub-language. They're speaking a language that you need to learn, and it's hard. But it's also really important because when you understand what's in your technology stack, and that's just basically all the things that build up to where you want to go. It could be the foundations of your website to the ways you share across social media. That's your technology stack. It's not too complicated. It can become very complicated, but by understanding it, you're able to maximize what you do on those platforms. You're able to explore things that perhaps the much, much more technical people wouldn't understand about your audience. So when you gain a greater understanding, you figure out ways that you can utilize it to more effectively get your message out there. And if you don't, you will always be driven by the technologist, which of course isn't necessarily the best way to communicate with your base.
Definitely need to work together there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little about component content. And why does that matter to marketers?
So component content is not a new concept. It was actually introduced many years ago by Anne Rockley, and it was based in this idea that intelligent content can be essentially unformatted in the background and then repurposed across multiple platforms and multiple times. When you think about your website, in the top left corner of your website or the bottom footer, you don't copy and paste that every time you build a website. You use those as repeatable components. And if you had to make a change to your footer or had to make a change to the top left corner, you could make that change separately and then update all your assets. Now, as we start to build more complex websites and multi-channel campaigns, Amanda, we need to now be able to control that on the back end. If the phrase of your organization changes by one word, you have to rely on institutional memory. Where did we use that? Oh, what page is that on? Well, let's do a find and replace. But now component content allows us to take something, let's say in the main body of your website, and if it's on hundreds, maybe even thousands of pages, I'm sure the CMI website is tens of thousands of pages. You can replace a single component, what we call a single source of truth, recall it, and republish it, and all of those website assets republish at the same time. It's not new, but the technologies to drive it forward, Amanda, are now finally in place in a way that are allowing marketers like us to really utilize effectively the single source of truth content.
Make their jobs easier, right?
Make their jobs easier. It's better for governance, and you can cascade things, right? You've built websites. You build a website, you have to depend on people's memories to know what was placed there, or do that weird find and replace, which never really works the way you want it to. You always miss something.
Right, right. So I'm a marketer, and all this is kind of like, there's so many new stuff coming out at me. How does a marketer improve their technology skills effectively and even efficiently in this day and age?
Well, it's no secret that I am a big advocate for going to live events and interacting with colleagues. Most of the things that I have learned have been watching somebody speak, having a conversation with the person next to me, listening to these conversations and these lessons, Amanda, that maybe they're not going to publish a book, and maybe they won't be making an ebook or a YouTube channel, but they have something to share. So I believe that going to live events, and I've been to every CMI event for the past, I don't know how many years, but you can't really understand all the things that are happening in our industry simply by sitting back and being passive or waiting for that information to come to you. You have to go for it. Now, obviously, live events are online right now, and that's the best we can do, but you're still going to hear some things that are extremely important and relevant to your career. So, for example, this is not a plug, you guys didn't ask me to do this. I'm going to be attending Content Tech because it is extremely relevant to the work that I do, and organically my knowledge will increase. And I think that right there is the kind of thing that we all need to be doing. We all need to be proactively pushing to make sure that we know what's going on in our industry, the success stories, the failures, and all those different things in between.
Yeah, the case studies are huge. Some of the companies that come and share, some of the big companies that come and share their case studies about, what they're doing, it's fantastic. So what sessions are, you looking forward to for the Content Tech Summit?
Yes, I have to tell you, like I will sometimes just go to a session just because I've seen somebody present and I'm like, they're great, like Andy Crestodina and Christopher Penn, and Pam Didner has a session. There are one or two. There is one, Joyce Lamb, I hope I'm saying her name correctly, preparing content for intelligent systems. So this is my area where I'm really passionate about component content, and preparing content for intelligent systems is something that I'm going to, it's a can't miss. Also, there's somebody named Jared Gingras from one called Your Journey from DAM to Omni-Channel Content Platform. Again, DAM's digital asset management and component content, they're all tied together. So I'll be watching all of those. And again, Andy, Pam, Chris Penn, those are can't miss sessions. And of course, I'll probably drop in and watch some of them later, but those are the can't miss live events.
So if you're like me and you're like component content over the head, DAM over the head, governance over the head, then you need to go to Content Tech Summit to get a little knowledge about it.
Well, and that's the thing. I before it was Content Tech, it was help me. What was the name of the? It was Scott Intelligent Content Conference, ICC, and it was always one of those events, Amanda, where things flew over my head the whole week. But I came out of it understanding that I needed to get my skills up as a creative, because as a creative, I needed to understand how these platforms worked organically, and that would help me to more effectively get my content out there. I learned technology as a necessity, as my background is as a copywriter, to learn how to get my words out there without having to go to an engineer. And I think all of us as creatives and marketers really should get a little bit deeper into the tech so that we know how these platforms work and we're not completely dependent on others to get the word out there.
Right, because I'm sure you're spending so much money on them too that you're like, and then you're not using them effectively, then you got a lot of explaining to do.
Well, and also you always have to go through a middle person. And
Mhm,
it's really effective if you know how to use your tools to be able to do these things yourself. It's like you, right?
mhm,
You have to learn a certain amount of software in order to produce video. In order to produce a show like this,
mhm.
you need to learn a certain amount of software. And that's sort of the minimum requirement these days to be a marketer. You really do have to understand how to get emotional stories to people, and we're all consuming on digital channels.
All right, and Monina just popped it up. If you want to reach Buddy, you can find him on Twitter at Buddy Scalera. And you can also find him talk about live streaming. What is it? Every Thursday, fourth Thursday of a month for the creative show?
Fridays.
Fridays.
Fridays with J.K. Kalinowski.
Yes.
We have Monina, J.K. and me, and we do the creative show, and we just talk about creative things. And it's
Mhm.
we never really know what it's going to be, because that's how it is. And it's creative and it's fun, and we take questions. We do the whole works.
It's a good one, guys. So check it out. And you can find it here on wherever you watch all of our live streams. You can see it. So if you'd like to attend the Content Tech Summit, then we have a special little code for you to save $100 on your registration. It is SM100. That's SM100. So go to content.tech, sign up, register, use that code, save $100, and we'd love to see you on June 8th through the 10th. Buddy will be there. I will be there. So we hope to see some of you there as well. So thank you, Buddy, so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who joined us. And we will see you back here again soon. Goodbye, everyone. Have a